Earlier this year, the Super Smash Bros. Melee community entered a new era of competition, as a program called Slippi introduced rollback netplay to Melee's online netcode, allowing major tournaments to be played on an emulator and take place online. Connecting players from all around the world, major events like LACS, Slippi Champions League, and this weekend Smash Summit 10, Slippi has allowed the Melee community to come together and thrive despite the global pandemic. While this is reason to celebrate, Melee is now facing an issue that it has dealt with many times over the past 19 years. Nintendo. December 4th through 6th, 2020 were the dates set for the next iteration of one of Melee's most storied tournaments, the Big House 10. Dating back to 2011, the Big House, held annually in Michigan, has been one of the largest and most prestigious tournaments in all of Smash. While in July the event was originally cancelled due to the COVID-19 pandemic, on November 10th it was announced that the tournament would go on anyway, moving instead to an online format. As registration began ramping up, however, on November 19th, just over a week after the tournament was back on, the Big House announced on Twitter that they had received some disappointing news: a cease and desist order from Nintendo of America, informing tournament organizers that due primarily to the use of Slippi, the Big House would not have permission to host or broadcast the event, and that the tournament would have to be cancelled. Now, Nintendo's troubled history with esports isn't some sort of big secret, and their relationship with Super Smash Bros. Is especially dysfunctional. Just so everyone is in the loop, let's recap some of the major battles that have involved Nintendo over the years. In 2010, Nintendo bans MLG from streaming brawl matches during the 2010 Pro Circuit by denying tournament organizers the rights to stream, record, or distribute any gameplay. In 2013, leading up to the Evolution Fighting Series, the Melee community raised nearly $95,000 in a donation drive, earning their game a spot on Championship Sunday. Just before the tournament was set to begin, however, Nintendo attempts to shut down the bracket and any streaming of Super Smash Bros. Melee. Thankfully, this decision was quickly reversed after enormous backlash from several communities, but it left Smasher's relationship with Nintendo even more strained than it already was. In 2015, content creator Video Game Bootcamp is forced to stop streaming tournaments that feature the brawl mod Project M due to its uncertain legality. Development of the mod shuts down soon after. In 2018, the Genesis Tournament Series partners with Nintendo of America and also makes the decision to forego the use of UCF, the Universal Controller Fix, a minor mod that was used to balance controller variants and had become a staple at just about every major event. And earlier in 2020, countless VODs using or even mentioning Slippi were either deleted or privated, likely at the behest of Nintendo's legal team. With all of this in mind, the Big House being shut down is not all that surprising. Super Smash Bros. Melee is Nintendo's intellectual property, and while traditional sports broadcasters can't claim legal ownership over something like basketball or hockey, Nintendo can claim legal ownership over a game that they themselves developed. In other words, Nintendo is the copyright holder, so Nintendo has the final say in when and where something can be streamed or showcased. But you might be asking, why is it that the Big House was specifically targeted by Nintendo when events like Smash Summit were not? And the likely reason is this: a former partnership that existed between the tournament and Nintendo in the past. In 2015, Nintendo sponsored the Big House 5, primarily to promote Smash for the Wii U. While this partnership no longer exists, it's likely why TBH10 has been forced to capitulate, and suggests that other events like Genesis, DreamHack, Frostbite, and CEO, who have also partnered with Nintendo in the past, would also not be allowed to move to an online format. But in the video game industry, Nintendo's repudiation of the Melee community is an outlier. Looking at companies like Riot Games and Blizzard and how hard they have worked to keep esports alive during the pandemic, it seems almost backwards for Nintendo to go out of their way to hamstring an already struggling esports scene. One of the reasons for this is that competitive Melee is bad for business. The GameCube is no longer being produced. Copies of Melee are no longer being sold, and the version that most people use to play Slippi is a pirated ROM. Nintendo has virtually no stake in Melee anymore, and after seeing Nintendo Switch sales explode during the pandemic, along with the success of Smash Ultimate, Melee could even be seen as a detriment to their bottom line. But just because it's legal doesn't make it right. Melee is huge. For many, Melee is their livelihood, their passion, and competition is one of the main things that drives the community's love for the game. How many of us were brought into the Smash community through seeing clips on YouTube, or watching the Smash documentary, or just stumbling on a Melee tournament while browsing through Twitch? And how many of us today are still playing Smash because we watch, follow, and compete in tournaments, or just love playing friendlies with our homies? What this issue boils down to then is a dedicated community who during a pandemic developed a program that allows a 19-year-old game to be played online with virtually no lag. This is a community who has kept the game alive for nearly 2 decades, doing what it can to compete when in-person competition has become impossible. And now, this community's only avenue to host tournaments is being taken away from them by the creators of the very game that they're trying to play. As we have said, Nintendo is fully within its rights to order tournaments to cease and desist, but that doesn't absolve them of intentionally trying to hurt a community that has brought them so much exposure and made the Smash series as big as it is today. If you're a Smash veteran, a casual observer, or this is your first time hearing about Melee, then please, the Melee community is asking for support in hopes that we can convince Nintendo to stop shutting down our tournaments. We know that Melee will find a way. Somehow, it always does. This video is made possible thanks to our wonderful patrons. Massive thank you to everyone on this list, and shout out to Arknox, Sammy, Shampoo, Weeaboo, Nathan, Nate, Mauve, Sierra, Foxy, and Lyra for being our platinum supporters. And an extra special shout out to Raffi, Noodles, Marco, and Steven for being our diamond supporters. We love you, and we appreciate you. If you also want to support our channel and unlock perks, check out the Patreon link in the description below or join our Discord server. If you want to help us out in a different way, leaving a like, subscribing, and hitting the bell to stay up to date is also appreciated. My name is Jonah, thanks for watching.